Hello everyone, welcome to XLPYQ series. Today we are going to discuss the most important questions of the chapter, life processes. You know, life is not just about being alive. It's all about what keeps us alive. We know the life processes: nutrition, respiration, transportation, and excretion. These are the four life processes that keeps us alive. Okay, let's break it all down through PYQs and let's make this chapter super easy. So let's get started. Okay, so let's go to the first question. The first question is, what are the difference between autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition? It's a very simple question. Okay, you say the answer for this one. Come on. Okay, in this side we are going to write autotrophic nutrition, and this side we are going to write heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. It's very simple, you know that. Autotrophic organisms are capable of producing food by themselves. Okay, in the autotrophic nutrition, they are making food by themselves. Okay, making food by themselves. But heterotrophic organisms are depending on other organisms for food. For example, we humans, can we make food by ourselves? No, we are depending on some plants or another animals. Okay, at the same time, the autotrophs like plants, they are capable of producing food by themselves. They can do photosynthesis. They produce food by themselves. Okay, and heterotrophic nutrition depending on other organisms for food. Okay, yeah, next they autotrophs produce organic food. They produce organic food from inorganic substances. Organic food from inorganic substances. Okay, you know that they do photosynthesis. They produce glucose. Glucose is the organic food, and the glucose is produced from inorganic materials like carbon dioxide and water. Okay, you know, carbon dioxide and water are inorganic. The product glucose is organic. So we can say that the autotrophs produce organic food from inorganic materials like carbon dioxide and water. And you know, what about them? What about the heterotrophs? They convert complex organic, otherwise better to say breakdown. Okay, they break down complex organic food. They break down complex organic food into simple substances. Heterotrophs consume the organic food, the complex organic food produced by the plants or the organic food from other animals, and convert that into or digest that into simple absorbable forms. Okay, next point. As the next point, you can add examples. Examples are plants. Plants are autotrophs. Okay, and some photosynthetic bacteria, not all bacteria. Okay, next, you know, heterotrophic nutrition. Example, all animals, fungi, etc. That's all about the answer for this question. Difference between autotrophic and heterotrophic nutrition. If you want, you can take a screenshot. Okay, yeah, let's move to the next question. Discuss the major steps involved in the process of nutrition in human beings. You know that. See, before discussing the steps, we must know what kind of nutrition we do, we humans. Autotrophic or heterotrophic? Yes, you are correct. It's heterotrophic. Okay, we do heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, but there are different types of heterotrophic nutrition, right? Different types of heterotrophic nutritions are there. One is holozoic. First type is holozoic. Second type is saprotrophic. Saprotrophic. Okay. Third type is parasitic nutrition. These are the three types of heterotrophic nutrition. So we human belongs to this category. Human belongs to holozoic nutrition category. Got it? Okay, so let's start. Come on. Discuss major steps involved in the process of nutrition in human beings. In human beings, it's holozoic nutrition. In human beings, the mode of nutrition is holozoic. Okay, and the steps of holozoic nutrition are: first one, ingestion. What does mean by ingestion? Eating the food, intake of food through mouth, eating, that is ingestion. Okay, ingestion means intake of food. Okay, after ingestion the food goes to our stomach, right? In the stomach digestion occurs, digestion of food. After ingestion the second step is digestion. What is digestion? Breaking down the complex food into simple absorbable forms, digestion. After digestion, absorption. After digestion we have to absorb the nutrients from the digested food, right? Absorption. And after absorption, next step is assimilation. What is assimilation? Assimilation is usage of the absorbed nutrients, assimilation. And after the assimilation we will have some waste, right? The removal of the undigested waste is called egestion. So these are the steps of holozoic nutrition. Ingestion, intake of food. Digestion is breakdown of organic food into simple absorbable forms. Okay, absorption. What is mean by absorption? Absorption of nutrients into our blood and to our cells. Okay, and assimilation, usage of nutrients. Okay, and egestion is removal of waste, removal of undigested waste is called egestion. Guys, these are the 5 steps of holozoic nutrition. Okay, and here we have discussed about holozoic nutrition. We humans or most of the animals show the holozoic nutrition. Okay, we can't leave these two. It's not a part of this question, even though we have to discuss these two things: saprotrophic nutrition and parasitic nutrition. Okay, come on. Saprotrophic nutrition and parasitic nutrition. Okay, parasitic nutrition shown by the parasites, right? Parasites, they obtain food from a living host. Okay, example, you know, Cuscuta is a parasitic plant. In Hindi it is called amarbel. Okay, Cuscuta. Leech. Okay, leech, the blood sucking leech, it's a parasite. Okay, that sucks blood even from human. Okay, another one, lice living in our head. Okay, and what else? The tapeworm in our digestive system. Okay, so these are the parasites living in a host and obtains nutrients from a host. Okay, at the same time, saprotrophic nutrition, the organism obtains food from dead organic matter. Okay, example, fungi. Okay, example for fungi is bread mold or rhizopus. You know that rhizopus is the bread mold, that is a fungi that shows saprotrophic nutrition. Okay, and you know that in holozoic nutrition we digest food, right? We digest food inside our stomach, right? Okay, the inside our stomach, even in mouth also some digestion is there, and in the small intestine digestion is there. Anyway, we digest food inside our body, but in saprophytic nutrition they digest food outside the body. They will secrete the enzyme outside the body and digest the food. Okay, here digestion occurs outside the body. Digestion occurs outside the body. That is an important point in saprotrophic nutrition. And if you take the parasitic nutrition, another important point is there. The parasite never kills the host. Why? If the host dies, the parasite also will die. Okay, the parasite never kills the host. Parasite won't kill the host. The parasite won't kill the host. Okay, but harms the host. Okay, now we have discussed about holozoic nutrition seen in animals, okay, especially in human, and we have discussed about saprotrophic nutrition present in fungi, and we have discussed about the parasitic nutrition also. Okay, and if you want you can take a screenshot, guys. Okay, good. Next question. List the events that occur during the process of photosynthesis. Explain the role of stomata in this process. Okay, you know photosynthesis. Okay, photosynthesis occurs in the leaf. You know that for photosynthesis, plants take solar energy, the energy from sunlight, and plants take water through the root. Okay, and plants take carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and in the leaf they make food. Right? Okay. Okay, so let's write the steps. The steps of or the event occurring in photosynthesis. The events occurring in photosynthesis. First one, absorption of sunlight. Absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll. Chlorophyll pigments present in the leaf absorb sunlight. Guys, listen. This is leaf, and in the leaf chlorophyll pigments are there in the mesophyll cells, and they absorb sunlight. Absorption of sunlight by chlorophyll. Second step, conversion of light energy. They absorbed light energy, right? They conversion of light energy into chemical energy. Okay, the light energy is converted into chemical energy, and splitting of water into hydrogen and oxygen. Splitting the water into hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, and the next step, reduction of CO2 into carbohydrate. Reduction of CO2 into carbohydrate. What is that? Reduction of carbon dioxide into a carbohydrate. Which is the carbohydrate? C6H12O6. That is glucose. Okay, and you know the complete formula or the balanced formula of photosynthesis. The balanced equation of photosynthesis, you know that 6CO2 plus 12H2O reacts in presence of light and chlorophyll. And produces the glucose, one molecule of glucose, C6H12O6, plus here 6 CO2 used, right? 6 molecule of CO2 used, and 6 molecule of oxygen is released. Okay, and here 12 molecule of water is used, right? And out of the 12, 6 molecule of water contributed to the glucose, and remaining 6 molecule of water is free. Okay, it's 12 molecule of water is used and 6 molecule of water is evolved. Okay, so this is the balanced equation of photosynthesis, and these are the 4 steps or the 3 steps involved in the photosynthesis. Got it? And the question is not yet over. Explain the role of stomata. Explain the role of stomata. What are stomata, guys? Stomata are the small openings. Stomata are the small openings present in the leaf. Okay, this pore is called stomatal pore. This pore is called stomatal pore. And what are these? What are these? Name. Come on, come on. What are these? Yeah, I heard you. These are the guard cells. These are the guard cells. These are the guard cells. Okay, guard cells help in opening and closing of stomata, right? Yeah, come on. Okay, these are guard cells. These are guard cells. Don't mind the color. Okay, guard cells. Okay, you know, when the guard cells when the guard cells intake water, when the guard cells intake water, the guard cells will swell. See, when the guard cells absorb water, the guard cells will swell. Guard cells will swell. When the guard cells swell, stomata opens. Stomata opens. Stomata opens. Here you can see an open stomata. I'll draw a closed stomata also. Okay, this is a closed stomata. Closed stomata. Okay. Closed stomata. Closed stomata. Okay, here you can see the guard cells are a little bit swollen, right? When the guard cells are swollen, the stomata opens. Okay, when the guard cells lose water, the guard cells shrink, and that leads to closing of stomata. Okay, when guard cells lose water, the guard cells shrink. That leads to closing of stomata. Stomata closes. Okay, then you can say what causes the opening and closing of stomata. When guard cells intake water, the guard cells swell and it leads to opening of stomata. Okay, when the water contains less water, the plant contains less water, the guard cells lose water. Okay, then when guard cells lose water, the guard cells shrink and stomata closes. Okay guys, through the open stomata, the plants can remove excess water. The removal of excess water is called transpiration. What is transpiration? The evaporative loss of water through stomata. Is called transpiration. Okay, now let's go back to this question. Okay, one more thing I want to tell you. See, for photosynthesis, CO2 is required, right? Intake of CO2 occurs through the stomata. Okay, let's go back to the question. What is the role of stomata in this process? Okay, the role of stomata is it helps to intake CO2 for photosynthesis. CO2 is essential for photosynthesis. Stomata helps to intake CO2 for photosynthesis. Okay, now the answer for this question is finished. Okay, if you want, you can take a screenshot. Okay, come on, let's go to next question. Come on, what is the role of acid in our stomach? Okay, we have reached the digestion part. Okay, let's discuss the whole parts of digestive system before answering to that question. Okay, you know how to draw the digestive system. Okay, it's the mouth. This part is called mouth, right? Mouth. And it is buccal cavity. Buccal cavity. And this part is called pharynx. Pharynx. Pharynx is the common chamber for both food and air. Pharynx. And this pipe is called esophagus. Esophagus. Okay. Esophagus opens into a J-shaped sac called stomach. Stomach. Near the stomach there is liver. This is liver. Okay. And below the stomach there is pancreas. This is pancreas. Okay. And below the liver there is gallbladder also. It's a gallbladder. Okay. Come on. The small intestine. Okay, this is large intestine, so let's complete the small intestine. This is small intestine. Oh. Okay, small intestine is a highly coiled tube, right? Small intestine is highly coiled. The small intestine opens into large intestine. Okay, this is small intestine. And this is large intestine, the large intestine. Okay, and the last part of large intestine is called rectum. This is the rectum. Okay, the digestive waste is temporarily stored in the rectum, and this opening is called anus. Okay, so these are the parts of human digestive system. Okay, let's discuss the digestion activity in different parts. Okay, our digestion is both chemical and mechanical. Let's take the chemical part. Enzymes are chemicals, right? Enzymes break down the complex food into simple absorbable forms. That process is called digestion. Once again, what is digestion? The breakdown of complex food into simple absorbable forms. Okay, our body can't intake protein as such. Protein is a complex food. So what will our body do? Our body will break down the complex protein into simple absorbable form. The absorbable form is amino acids. When you take protein, you are actually absorbing amino acid. Okay, when you take the complex carbohydrate, we are actually absorbing what? Glucose. Okay, when you are intaking complex fat, you are actually absorbing fatty acid and glycerol. So every complex food is broken down into simple absorbable forms. That is digestion. Okay, so enzymes are chemicals that break down the food, right? And mechanical action. Our mouth contains tongue and teeth. They chew the food, right? That is, chewing is a mechanical action. Like that, our stomach grinds the food. Okay, grinding of food is also mechanical action. So digestion is both chemical and mechanical. Okay, come on. So let's take the buccal cavity part. Okay, buccal cavity, or in the mouth. In the mouth, salivary gland is there. Salivary gland produces saliva. Saliva contains enzyme salivary amylase. Okay, this salivary amylase break down starch. The starch present in our food into simple sugars. That's it. That is the digestion process in mouth. Okay, next, see, food. Okay, food is in the mouth. After chewing action, the food goes through esophagus. Esophagus show rhythmic contraction. For transferring food into stomach, right? That rhythmic contraction is called peristalsis. Esophagus shows peristalsis. Okay, and next activity, the food. After esophagus, the food reaches in the stomach. what happens in the stomach. Let's see what happens in the stomach. Okay, in the stomach, gastric glands are there. Gastric glands secrete three things. Okay, first one is HCl, second one is pepsin, third one is mucus. Okay, let's go to our question. What is the question? What is the role of acid in our stomach? Which is the acid present in the stomach? Okay, acid present in the stomach. Acid present in the stomach is which is the acid, guys? It's hydrochloric acid, HCl. What is the function of HCl? HCl has two functions. Okay, first function, see, you eat food, right? When the food reaches in the stomach, the food may contain some microbes. Okay, some bacteria or some microbes will be there. Okay, the acid kills all the microbes. Okay, so we can write HCl acts as an antimicrobial agent, on food. Okay, it kills all the germs. Next one, HCl provides acidic medium. HCl provides acidic medium for the activation of pepsin. What is pepsin? Pepsin is the protein digesting enzyme. Actually, the pepsin is released. Pepsin is initially released as pepsinogen. Okay, pepsin is initially released as pepsinogen. Pepsinogen is the inactive form. Pepsinogen is activated by HCl into the active pepsin. Pepsin is the active form. Pepsin is the protein digesting enzyme. Okay, pepsin is the protein digesting enzyme. Okay, come on. This is the answer for this question. If you want, you can take a screenshot. Okay, this is the answer for this question. Take it. Okay, good. Come on. HCl activates pepsin. Pepsin digests protein. Pepsin digests protein into peptones. Okay, pepsin digests protein into peptones. Peptones are the broken form of protein. Okay, next, mucus. Mucus protects stomach wall from HCl. You know, HCl is very corrosive. If you pour HCl in your hand, that will make a hole here. If you dip your fingers in the HCl, only bone will be remaining. Understood? That much corrosive is HCl. But your stomach, seriously, your stomach contains HCl, but the HCl is not harming the stomach wall. Why? Because the stomach wall is protected from HCl by a mucus coating. There is a mucus coating here. Mucus coating protects stomach wall from the corrosive action of HCl. Okay, guys, that is the digestion in the stomach. Next, small intestine. Digestion in the small intestine. Okay, to the small intestine, the secretion of liver is coming. Liver secretes bile. Okay, liver produces bile, and the bile is stored in the gallbladder. From the gallbladder, bile is released into small intestine, and from the pancreas, pancreatic juice is also released into the small intestine. So two guests are coming to the small intestine. Who are they? One is bile from liver and gallbladder, and pancreatic juice from pancreas. Okay, so small intestine. From the small intestine, in the small intestine, liver is not inside small intestine. No, don't think like that. Okay, liver is not inside small intestine, but the secretion of liver comes to the small intestine. Okay, the secretion of pancreas comes into the small intestine. Their action occurs in the small intestine. Okay, so liver secretes bile. Liver secretes bile. What is the function of bile? Bile emulsifies fat. Bile emulsifies fat. What does that mean? It breaks down complex fat into simple fat globule. Breaks down complex fat into simple fat globules. Okay, and there will be an important question. Even though bile contains no enzyme, what is the significance of bile? And keep in mind, bile contains no enzyme. Once again, I repeat, bile contains no enzyme. Bile contains no enzyme. Okay, bile contains no enzyme. Still, it breaks down fat, emulsifies fat into small fat globules. Okay, emulsification. Next. And bile has one more role. Bile provides alkaline medium. Bile provides alkaline medium. Bile provides alkaline medium for the activation of pancreatic enzyme. Guys, pancreatic enzymes are coming into the small intestine, right? So for the activation of the pancreatic enzyme, alkaline medium is required. That is provided by bile. Okay, next, pancreas. Pancreas secretes pancreatic juice. Pancreas secrete pancreatic juice. Pancreatic juice contains pancreatic amylase. Like the salivary amylase, the pancreatic amylase is there. Okay, pancreatic amylase break down carbohydrates. Break down the simple sugars. See here, starch is converted into simple sugars. That simple sugars further broken into glucose. Okay, amylase. Other than that, okay. So guys, no space here. I will write the remainings here. Okay, I'm drawing a column here. Okay, and I'll draw the remaining here. Okay, so amylase action, simple sugars converted into glucose. Okay, another one, other than amylase, pancreatic juice contains trypsin. Okay, trypsin converts protein into amino acids. Okay, or breaks down protein. That's it. And the lipase break down lipids or fat. Lipase break down lipids or fat. Okay, the emulsified fat into fatty acid and glycerol. Okay, these are the complete digestion. And one more thing, not that much significant. See, in addition to the secretion of liver and secretion of pancreas, the intestine itself, the wall of intestine itself secretes a secretion that is called intestinal juice. Intestinal juice completes digestion. Keep in mind, intestinal juice completes digestion. Okay, yeah, that's it about this. If you want to take a screenshot. Okay, come on. Next question. Okay, how is small intestine designed to absorb digested food? You know that inside the small intestine, this is small intestine. Okay, this is small intestine. Inside the small intestine you can see small finger like projections. See, inside that there will be small finger like projections like this. Okay, these finger like projections are called, come on, say the name of the finger like projections. These are called villi. I'll draw a villi here. This is a villi. It's a villi. Okay, inside the villi there will be abundant blood capillaries. Okay, blood capillaries are there. Okay, here there will be digested food here. Okay, digested food will be here. The digested food, the nutrients in the digested food are absorbed into the blood capillaries in the villi. The nutrients are absorbed into the blood capillaries inside the villi. Okay, once again, so the answer for this question: how is small intestine designed to absorb the digested food? Okay, small intestine contains small finger-like projections, called villi. Okay, it increases surface area for absorption. It increases surface area for absorption. Guys, maximum absorption occurs in the small intestine. The digestion completed in the small intestine, and maximum absorption occurs in the small intestine. Okay, in the large intestine there will be nothing to be absorbed. Only water will be absorbed from the large intestine. Okay, after absorption of the maximum water, the remaining waste is temporarily stored in the rectum, and when time comes, when the call of nature comes, it is released through anus. Okay, I want to tell you one more thing. There are two sphincters. Sphincter is a muscular opening. Two types of, actually not two, but in your syllabus, two sphincters are present in our body. One is in stomach. Okay, one sphincter is here. That controls the movement of food from stomach to small intestine. Another sphincter is here, anal sphincter. When the anal sphincter opens, the waste will go out, the fecal matter will go out. The removal of fecal matter is called egestion. Okay, so once again, which are the two organs possessing sphincter? One is stomach, the other one is anus. Okay, come on, increases surface area for absorption. Okay, and it contains abundant blood capillaries. Abundant blood capillaries. Okay, the nutrients are absorbed into it. The nutrients are absorbed into the blood capillaries. Okay, that is the answer for this question, guys. Okay, next. Write difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Name some organism that use anaerobic mode. Difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. It's very easy, right? Aerobic respiration occurs in presence of oxygen, and anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen or when there is lack of oxygen. You know that, very easy. Come on, let's distinguish between them. Okay, let's take this color. Okay, write difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration. Here, anaerobic respiration. Okay, let's see what is aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration occurs in presence of light. In presence of oxygen. Occurs in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. Next one, aerobic respiration. What is respiration, guys? What is respiration? Breakdown of food to release energy. That is respiration. Breakdown of food to release energy. That is respiration. Okay, aerobic respiration, the complete oxidation, breakdown, otherwise oxidation. Complete oxidation of food. Which food? Glucose. Complete oxidation of glucose. Okay, and anaerobic respiration, it is the partial oxidation of glucose. Okay, and the product is carbon dioxide plus water plus energy. And in anaerobic respiration, the products are either lactic acid plus energy, or ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. You know that the lactic acid is formed in muscles. Okay, the lactic acid is formed in muscles. In muscles, when there is lack of oxygen, and ethanol plus CO2 plus energy is formed in yeast, right? In yeast. Okay, come on. Here it occurs, aerobic respiration occurs in cytoplasm and mitochondria. Two sites in a cell, cytoplasm and mitochondria. Okay, and anaerobic respiration occurs only in cytoplasm of cell. Okay, and through aerobic respiration, more energy is produced, more energy yield. Okay, more energy is produced. More energy, like almost 38 molecules of ATP is formed. But through anaerobic respiration, less energy, like 2 ATP is produced. So these are the difference between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Okay, come on, take a screenshot. Okay, come on, this is a very important and compulsory question. Okay, I hope you score better. Come on. Next question. Explain the ways in which glucose is broken down in absence or shortage of oxygen. Okay, come on. See, explain the ways. Come on. Glucose, breakdown of glucose to release energy, that is respiration, right? Glucose is broken step by step. Okay, glucose is broken or oxidized step by step. First step is called glycolysis. That occurs in cytoplasm. Oh guys, I want to tell you one more thing here. This question is not finished. Name some organism that use anaerobic mode. Okay, which are the organisms using anaerobic mode? One is yeast, and some anaerobic bacteria. Anaerobic bacteria also use anaerobic respiration, and when there is shortage of oxygen, our human muscle cell also do the anaerobic mode of respiration. But here the question, name 2 organisms. Yeast is an organism, anaerobic bacteria is another organism. Okay, come on, one second. Glucose, glycolysis, cytoplasm. Come on, the product is 2 molecules of pyruvate, and some energy will be produced. Okay, energy will be produced. Glucose contains 6 carbon, pyruvate contains 3 carbon, through 2 molecules of pyruvate, right? Okay, 2 into 3, 6. Now the pyruvate has 3 fates. First fate, in presence of oxygen. The pyruvate is completely broken into carbon dioxide, water and energy. Okay, and in this case, okay, next fate of pyruvate, when there is lack of oxygen, see, shortage of oxygen, when there is lack of oxygen, the pyruvate is converted into lactic acid plus energy. Next, when there is absence of oxygen, the pyruvate is broken into ethanol plus carbon dioxide plus energy. Okay, so when there is absence of oxygen, the breakdown process is like this. When there is lack of oxygen, the breakdown process like this. Okay, explain the ways in which glucose is broken down in the absence or shortage of oxygen. So these 2 are the answers. These two. The first one is in presence of oxygen. Okay, and you know this occurs in muscle cells. In muscle cells, this occurs in yeast. Okay, that's it. That's it for this question. Next, write 3 points. Write 3 points of difference between respiration in plants and respiration in animals. Very easy. 3 points, right? Respiration in plants and animals. Okay, respiration in plants, respiration in animals. Okay, in animals, you know, respiration is the breakdown of glucose to produce energy. You know that. For that, we have to intake oxygen. Okay, how do we intake oxygen, guys? How do we intake oxygen? Once again. Respiration is the breakdown of glucose to produce energy. For the breakdown of glucose, we need oxygen. We do aerobic respiration. How do we intake oxygen? Tell me, how do we intake oxygen? I'm waiting for your answer. Exactly, breathing. Okay, breathing, we do breathing. Okay, so in animals, breathing is involved. Respiration involves breathing. Breathing is involved. Okay, but in plants, no breathing. Breathing is not involved. No breathing. Got it? Do the plants breathe like this, inhalation and exhalation? No breathing. But in humans, mechanical breathing is there, or animals breathing is there. Okay, in animals, specialized respiratory organs are present. Specialized respiratory organs are present. Okay, the respiratory organs, example, lungs in terrestrial organisms, terrestrial animals, and gills in aquatic animals. But in plants, no respiratory organ. Okay, and in animals, rate of respiration is high. Rate of respiration is high in animals, but in plants, rate of respiration is low. Respiration is low. Okay, guys, that is the answer for this question. Difference between respiration in plants and animals. Okay, good. Next question. What is the difference between arteries and veins, guys? There are 3 types of blood vessels in our body: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Okay, arteries, veins, and capillaries. Okay, here the question, just to write the difference between arteries and veins. Okay, come on, arteries and veins. Arteries and veins. Okay, come on. Arteries. Artery. Okay, this is artery. And you know, vein. That's it. Okay, what is the difference between arteries and veins? Okay, you know, arteries carry blood away from the heart. Arteries carry blood away from the heart, and veins carry blood to the heart. Okay, next one, arteries carry oxygenated blood. But veins carry deoxygenated blood. Okay, all veins carry deoxygenated blood. There is an exception. What is the exception? Except pulmonary vein. Pulmonary vein is the only vein that carries oxygenated blood. Okay, and arteries generally carry oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. except pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood. Okay, and you know, arteries have thick and elastic walls. Thick and elastic walls. Here, thin walls. You can see here, thick wall and thin wall. Thin wall. Veins have thin wall. Why arteries have thick wall? Because it pumps blood with high pressure, so there is a chance for breakage. In order to resist the breakage, the arteries by default possess thick wall. Okay, pumps blood with high pressure, but veins carry blood with low blood pressure. Guys, these are the difference between arteries and veins. Come on. These are the difference. Okay. In addition to that, let's see about capillaries also. I will write about capillaries here. Okay, capillaries are the smallest blood vessels. Capillaries are the smallest blood vessels, and they have the size of a cell. Okay, size of a cell. Okay, their size is very small. They have the size of a cell. Okay, and they capillaries connect arteries and veins. That's it about blood vessels. Okay, next question. Describe double circulation in human beings. Okay, what is double circulation? Blood passes through heart twice. Blood passes through heart twice or 2 times in a cardiac cycle. Blood passes through heart twice in a cardiac cycle. I will draw the diagrammatic representation of heart. Okay, not the actual heart. Okay, we can represent heart like this. Okay, like this. This is the, our heart has 4 chambers. Okay, come on. It is right atrium. It is left atrium. Upper chambers are called atrium and the lower chambers are called ventricle. This is right ventricle. This is left ventricle. And our body parts. And we have the lungs also. Okay, body parts and lungs. From the body parts, the blood is coming to right atrium. From the body parts, blood is coming to right atrium. Okay, from the body parts, blood is coming to right atrium. From the right atrium, blood is going to right ventricle. From the right ventricle, blood is going to lungs. From the right ventricle, blood is going to lungs. Okay, lungs. Guys, tell me, which blood vessel carries blood from body parts to right atrium? Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins carry blood to the heart. So it must be a vein. This is the major vein in our body. Its name is vena cava. And since the blood is coming from body parts, the blood will be deoxygenated. The blood is deoxygenated blood. And from the right ventricle, blood is carried to lungs by pulmonary artery, and the blood is deoxygenated blood. In short, we can say that the right side of heart contains only deoxygenated blood. Okay, and from the lungs, blood is coming to left atrium. Blood is coming to left atrium. Okay, this time it's oxygenated blood. Okay, from the lungs, oxygenated blood is coming. Okay, lungs take carbon dioxide and adds oxygen to the blood. Okay, from the lungs, oxygenated blood is coming to left atrium. From left atrium, it is going to left ventricle. From the left ventricle, it is going to body parts again. Through aorta. This is aorta, and this is called a pulmonary vein. pulmonary vein, and this blood is oxygenated blood. This blood is also oxygenated blood. So we can say right side contains deoxygenated blood, left side contains oxygenated blood. Okay, describe double circulation. Now we have described the double circulation. Okay, let's go to the next question. What is the advantage of four-chambered heart? What is the advantage of having four chamber? In our heart, four chambers are there, right? Four chambers are there. These are the four chambers of heart, right? Four chambers of heart. Right atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Okay, and you know, this wall is called septum. This wall is also called septum. Okay, and you know that the walls of ventricles are thicker than the walls of atrium. Okay, the walls of ventricles are thicker than the walls of atrium. Why there is increased thickness for ventricle? Ventricle pumps blood to all other organs. Ventricle pumps blood to lungs, all other organs. So ventricle has to apply a lot of pressure. So ventricle wall should be thick. Okay, come on. Now let's see the advantage of four chambered heart. Many advantages are there, guys. One advantage, it separates mixing of oxygenated, it prevents mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Prevents mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood. Okay, the mixing is prevented by this septum. Septum prevents mixing. Right side deoxygenated, left side oxygenated. They never mixes. Okay, the mixing is prevented by septum. Okay, and another function, another advantage, it helps in efficient supply. It helps in efficient supply of oxygenated blood. Efficient supply of oxygenated blood. If there is mixing in the ventricle, the blood will be mixed and there will be an efficient supply of oxygenated blood. It ensures efficient supply of oxygenated blood and it helps to save energy. Helps to save energy. Okay, these are the advantages of four-chambered heart. Got it? Okay. Next. Okay, I forgot to tell you one more thing. See, what is the I've told you here, helps to save energy, right? Helps to save energy. Okay, how it saves energy, guys? In amphibians and reptiles, you know, they have only three chambers for their heart. Right? They have right atrium and left atrium, left atrium and ventricle. Okay, and from the body parts, see here lungs. Okay, from the body parts, blood is coming to right atrium, then goes to right ventricle. From the right ventricle, not the right ventricle, ventricle. Okay, from the ventricle it goes to lungs. From the lungs, the oxygenated blood is coming to left atrium to ventricle. So in the ventricle, it will get mixed with the oxygenated blood. Okay, it will get mixed with the deoxygenated blood, and the mixed blood will come to body parts. So they have to use a lot of energy to resist the effect of mixing. Once again, if there is mixing of blood, they have to use a lot of energy to prevent the effect of mixing. They have to use a lot of energy to tolerate the effect of mixing. and luckily we don't have the mixing, so that we don't have to use a lot of energy to tolerate the mixing. Okay, luckily we don't have mixing, so we can use that energy for keeping our body temperature constant. Okay, we are not like amphibians and reptiles. We are maintaining a constant body temperature. We need a lot of energy for that, so we can save the energy for keeping our body temperature constant. But in amphibians and reptiles, they are depending on environment for body temperature. When body temperature, their body temperature is dependent on the environment. Okay, so how to write answer for this? See, the separation of right side and left side of the heart is useful to keep oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from mixing. Such separation allows highly efficient supply of oxygen to the body. This is useful to the animals that have high energy needs, such as birds and mammals, which constantly use energy to maintain their body temperature. Okay, that is advantage of four chambered heart. Okay, next question. Why it is necessary to separate oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in mammals and birds? See, we have already discussed the answer, right? Why there is a separation? Because mammals and birds are warm-blooded animals. Mammals and birds are warm-blooded animals. Okay, they maintains a constant body temperature. See, our body temperature is always 37. Whatever the surrounding temperature, our body temperature is always 37. We keep a constant body temperature. That's why we are called a warm-blooded, homeotherms. Okay, they maintain a constant body temperature. Okay, it requires a lot of energy. Okay, since there is no mixing of blood, they can save the energy and can use it for maintaining constant body temperature. Okay, almost same answer for this question and the previous question. Okay, next one. What is hemoglobin? Guys? Hemoglobin. Okay, come on. What is hemoglobin? Okay, let's read the full question. What would be the consequence of the deficiency hemoglobin in our body? Let's see, guys. Hemoglobin is represented by this Hb, hemoglobin. Okay, hemoglobin is the iron containing pigment present in blood, that carries oxygen. Okay, you know that hemoglobin combines with the oxygen and forms oxyhemoglobin. Okay, come on. See, in our blood, oxygen is carried by hemoglobin. What is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is the oxygen containing pigment present in our blood. Okay, and what happens to us if we don't have enough hemoglobin? Our blood will not be able to carry oxygen. Okay, what are the consequences? Consequences of deficiency of hemoglobin. Okay, the ability to carry oxygen will be reduced. the ability of carrying oxygen will be reduced, so that oxygen will not reach to all our organs, the oxygen will not reach our brain, and we will faint. Understood? Okay. And next, anemia. It causes anemia. Okay, the deficiency of hemoglobin makes our skin very pale in color. Okay, inside our eye also there will be no much redness. Okay, this condition is called anemia. The deficiency of hemoglobin causes anemia. Okay, come on. Next one, mention any two components of blood. Okay, mention any two components of blood. You know, there are two components in blood. Plasma, right? In blood there is plasma. Plasma is the fluid matrix of blood. 90% of plasma is water, and the remaining things are some proteins, nutrients, hormones, etc. Okay, so plasma, and the second part is blood cells. Blood cells. These are the two components of blood. And let's discuss about the blood cells, which are the three types of blood cells, right, guys. One is red blood cells, erythrocyte. Second one is WBC or leukocytes. Third one is platelets. Platelets. Okay. RBC function. RBC contains hemoglobin. Hemoglobin helps to carry oxygen. Carrying oxygen. That is the function of RBC. WBC, fight against pathogen, provides immunity. Fight against pathogen and providing immunity. Platelets help in blood clotting, prevents the loss of blood from a wound. Okay. Blood clotting. Next, trace the movement of oxygenated blood in the body. Oxygenated blood moves. Come on, trace the movement. Okay. The oxygenated blood, answer for B. Oxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood passes through which blood vessels, guys? Which blood vessels? Arteries or veins? Arteries. Okay. And is there any vein that carries oxygenated blood? Yes, that is pulmonary vein. Okay, arteries. And O2 is carried by hemoglobin. O2 is carried by hemoglobin. And the pathway, movement. Okay, oxygenated blood coming from lungs. Oxygenated blood coming from lungs. From the lungs it is carried by pulmonary vein. From the pulmonary vein it reaches through the pulmonary vein, it reaches the left atrium. From the left atrium it goes to left ventricle. From the left ventricle it goes through aorta to body parts. Okay, aorta to body parts. It is the pathway of oxygenated blood. Okay, come on. Here we have seen oxygenated blood, lungs, pulmonary vein, left atrium, left ventricle, aorta, body parts. And deoxygenated blood, body parts, vena cava, right atrium, right ventricle, pulmonary artery, lungs. Okay, what is the function of lymph in our body, guys? What is lymph? Lymph is otherwise called tissue fluid. Guys, listen, this is our blood vessel. Okay, this is one of the blood vessel. Okay, this is one of the blood vessel. And these are the tissues. These are the tissues. Okay, from the blood vessel, see, blood vessel carries blood, right? From the blood, some substances leaks into the tissue. From the blood, some substances leaks into the blood. Okay, that substances, it includes plasma and smaller proteins. And some blood cells, except the red blood cell. Okay, red blood cells are absent in plasma. Red blood cells are absent in lymph. Okay, and you know the lymph, this tissue fluid, see, this tissue fluid is called a lymph. Once again, from the blood, some substances leaks into the tissue. Okay, this fluid contains small proteins, plasma and some blood cells except RBC. Okay, and you know these things are collected. This tissue fluid is collected into the lymphatic capillaries. These are lymphatic capillaries. Lymphatic capillaries. The lymphatic capillaries joins to form large lymph vessels. Large lymph vessels. The lymph vessels finally opens into veins. These are veins. So in short, we can say that the lymph is coming from blood and going back to blood. Okay, and let's see the function of lymph. What are the functions of lymph? Okay, lymph is the tissue fluid. It is coming from blood. It contains plasma, smaller proteins and WBC or some blood cells. Okay, and it is absorbed back to veins or back to blood. Okay, functions of lymph. What are the functions of lymph? Lymph provides immunity. Lymph provides immunity. You know that lymph contains lymphocytes. It produces immunity. It provides immunity. Okay, another function, it drains excess water. Excess water from tissues. Okay, from tissues. If tissues contain excess water, the excess water drains with the lymph into the lymphatic capillaries. Okay, drains excess water. Okay, and the last one, it helps in absorption of digested fat. Okay, next question. How is food transported in plants? Okay, in plants, food is transported through xylem. In plants, sorry, my mistake. In plants, food is transported through phloem. In plants, food is transported through phloem. Okay. Phloem, mainly which component of phloem? Sieve tubes of phloem. Okay, let me explain how that happens. Suppose this is the stem. Okay, and this is the sieve tube. What is this? Sieve tube. This is the sieve tube. Okay, and I'll draw a xylem also, xylem vessel. This is the xylem vessel. Okay, and let's draw a leaf or something here. This is leaf or something. Anyway, it's the source from where the food is taken. This is source of food. Okay, or it's a leaf. You know that. Which is the food, guys? The food is sucrose. Okay, first step, sucrose is transferred. Sucrose in the leaf, right? Sucrose is transferred from the leaf into the sieve tube. Sucrose from the leaf is transferred into the sieve tube. Okay, first step, sucrose is transferred from leaf to the sieve tube using ATP. Guys, ATP is required for transferring energy from for transferring sucrose from leaf to sieve tube. Okay, when amount of sucrose increased in the sieve tube, osmotic pressure increases in the sieve tube. Okay, it increases osmotic pressure. It increases osmotic pressure in the sieve tube. It increases osmotic pressure in the sieve tube. Okay, due to the increased osmotic pressure, water from the due to the increased osmotic pressure, water from the xylem moves into the sieve tube. From the xylem, water moves into sieve tube. Water from xylem moves into sieve tube. Okay, now water also came into sieve tube. Previously sieve tube contained only sucrose. Now water also came through osmosis, right, due to increased osmotic pressure. And the water and sucrose increases pressure here. Due to increased pressure, it increased pressure, right? Due to the increased pressure, the substances in the sieve tube will move to the low pressure areas. Here you can see high pressure. Here you can see high pressure. Here you can see low pressure. Due to pressure variation, the substance in the sieve tube will move towards low pressure areas. Okay, it increases pressure in the sieve tube. Okay, it leads to movement of substances. Into low pressure areas. Okay, from high pressure area the food is moved to low pressure area. These are the steps. Okay, this is how the food is transported through phloem. Okay, yeah. Okay, if you want you can take a screenshot. Take it. Okay, good. Same question appears again. Describe the structure and function of nephron with the help of diagram. Describe the structure and function of nephron with the help of diagram. Okay, you know, nephron. What is nephron? Nephron is the functional unit of kidneys, right? Each kidney contains 1.2 million nephrons. Okay, so let's draw the structure of nephron. You know, there's a cup-like structure named Bowman's capsule. Wait a second. This cup-like structure is called Bowman's capsule. The continuation of Bowman's capsule. See, the continuation of Bowman's capsule is called proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, and there is a U-shaped part or a hairpin shaped part. This part is called Henle's loop, and there is another coiled tube that is called distal convoluted tubule or DCT. Okay, but we don't have to study the separate names of these three parts. Okay, these three parts together we can call tubular part of nephron. Okay, and that opens into collecting duct. Okay, this is collecting duct. Okay, let's name this again. This is called Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule, and this part, the PCT, Henle's loop, collecting duct, together we can call it tubular part of nephron. Tubular part of nephron. Okay, and you know, this part is called collecting duct. And there will be a blood vessel coming to the Bowman's capsule, a blood vessel entering into the Bowman's capsule, and that forms a tuft of capillaries here, and goes out. Okay, this tuft of capillaries is called glomerulus. Glomerulus is the tuft of capillaries. Okay, and you know, this blood vessel goes around this tubular part of nephron. Okay, it goes around the tubular part of nephron. Okay, see, glomerulus, the continuation of glomerulus, this blood vessel forms a peritubular capillaries. Okay, so this is the structure of nephron. This is the structure of nephron. Okay, and let's study the function of nephron. Okay, what is the function of nephron? The function of nephron is urine formation, otherwise filtration of blood, and removing nitrogenous waste or the urea and that kind of nitrogenous waste. Okay, come on. See, there are three steps in urine formation. The first step is glomerular filtration. The steps of urine formation. First step is glomerular filtration. Okay. Second step is tubular reabsorption. And the third step is tubular secretion. Guys, these are the three functions of nephron. Okay, we have drawn the diagram of nephron and we have to explain the function of nephron. Guys, listen, the blood flows through this glomerulus, right? The blood flows through this glomerulus. From the blood, some of the substances will be filtered into the Bowman's capsule. Guys, blood is passing through this, right? From the blood, some of the substances leaks into the Bowman's capsule, or some of the substances filtered into the Bowman's capsule. This filtered thing is called filtrate. Okay, the filtrate contains both useful and useless things. Okay, see, some of the substances from the blood is filtered into the Bowman's capsule. It is called filtered, not just impurity. It contains useful things as well as useless things. Okay, and the useful things like amino acids, glucose should be reabsorbed back to the body. Okay, and the useless things should be eliminated out of the body. That is called excretion. The elimination of nitrogenous waste from our body is called excretion. Okay, so from the filtrate goes through this. Okay, the filtrate goes through this. Okay, and the useful things from the filtrate, the useful things present in the filtrate should be reabsorbed back to blood. Okay, the useful things in the filtrate should be reabsorbed back to blood. That is called tubular reabsorption. Okay, what is glomerular filtration? Some substances from the blood filtered into the Bowman's capsule. Okay, it occurs in the glomerulus. Got it? And tubular reabsorption. What is tubular reabsorption? Useful things from the filtrate. Is or are reabsorbed back to blood. Okay, the third step, guys, listen. After filtration, the blood still contains some unwanted things. The unwanted things are secreted into the filtrate. And let the filtrate to go out. Okay, what is tubular secretion? Secretion of unwanted things into filtrate from the blood. Okay, once again, in the glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, the filtration occurs, of blood, and the blood still contains some impurities. That impurities are secreted again into the filtrate. Okay, if the filtrate contains useful things, the useful things are reabsorbed back to the blood. These are the three steps: glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion. Okay, and the filtrate will be finally collected here. The filtrate will be finally collected in the collecting duct. In the collecting duct, maximum reabsorption of water occurs from the collecting duct. Maximum reabsorption of water occurs, and the urine will be concentrated. The concentration of filtrate or the concentration of urine occurs in the collecting duct. So that's all about the structure and function of nephron. Okay, for example, there will be a compulsory question to draw the structure of nephron. Nephron has a tubular structure. It has four major parts: the glomerulus, Bowman's capsule, tubular part of nephron, and collecting duct. There are three steps for urine formation: glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, tubular secretion. Okay. Next question. Oh, same question. Next. Compare the functioning of alveoli in the lungs and nephron in the kidney, guys. Alveoli. Okay, come on. First we must know what is alveoli. You know our respiratory system. You know the pathway of our respiratory system. I'll draw that. Come on. It's the forehead. It's our nose. Okay, and we have external nostrils. This is called nasal chamber. This is the buccal cavity, you know that. And this part, the common passage for food and air, is called pharynx. Okay, pharynx. From the pharynx, two pipes open. One is food pipe. Food pipe is called esophagus. The other one is windpipe or trachea. This is trachea. In the beginning of trachea, we have a cartilaginous box here. We have a cartilaginous box. Okay, that is our voice box. Otherwise, we can call it larynx. Okay, as the continuation of that, we have trachea, right? And trachea is supported by cartilaginous rings, C-shaped cartilaginous rings. The cartilaginous rings prevent collapsing of trachea, you know that. And you know that the trachea coming down. In this level, the trachea split into two branches called bronchi. The two branches are bronchi. Okay, the bronchi further split into many branches called secondary bronchi, tertiary bronchi, like that. Okay, anyway, the bronchi splits into many branches. All these branches are also called bronchi. Okay, bronchi split into bronchioles. The bronchiole opens into air balloon-like structures called alveoli. The air balloon-like structures are called alveoli. Our lungs is made up of such many alveoli. Okay. Okay, so if you take one such air sac, this is called alveoli. What is this? This is alveoli. Okay, when you inhale, the air goes through this way. There goes through nostril, nasal passage, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, finally alveoli. Okay, from the alveoli, the oxygen is diffused into blood. There will be many blood vessels in the lungs. There will be many blood capillaries around each alveoli. Okay, come on. Let's label each part. Come on. This part is called nostrils, external nostrils. External nostrils. And this part is called nasal cavity or nasal passage. This part is called pharynx, the common passage for food and air, pharynx. And this part is called larynx. Larynx is the cartilaginous box, that is our voice box. Okay, and you know this part is called trachea. Trachea is supported by C-shaped cartilaginous rings. What is the function of these cartilaginous rings? That prevents collapsing of trachea. And next part is bronchi. The terminal part of bronchi is bronchiole. bronchiole. Bronchiole opens in alveoli. Alveoli. Okay, alveoli. What are alveoli? These are the air sac or balloon like structures. Okay, and you know it has abundant capillaries around it. Many capillaries are present around it. Okay, this is a blood capillary. This is a blood capillary. This is a blood capillary. This is a blood capillary, guys. You know, oxygen-rich air enters into alveoli. From the alveoli, oxygen is diffused. Oxygen diffuses into the blood. Okay, this is blood capillary, right? From the blood capillary, carbon dioxide diffuses into alveoli and it goes out. So gas exchange occurs in the alveoli. Alveoli is the gas exchange part. Oxygen diffuses from alveoli into blood and carbon dioxide diffuses from blood to alveoli. So alveoli is the part of gas exchange. Okay, and the blood is filtered. Okay, what kind of filtration? Filtration of urea? No, it's a filtration of carbon dioxide from blood. Understood? And the blood is oxygenated, but in kidney urea is removed or nitrogenous wastes are removed and the blood is purified. Here also in the lungs also a kind of blood purification, but in case of in the aspect of gases. Okay, come on, let's compare alveoli and nephron. Okay, in this side alveoli, in this side alveoli, and in this side nephron. Alveoli and nephron. Okay, alveoli are the part of respiratory system. Okay, and nephrons are the part of excretory system. Okay, and alveoli are the functional unit of lungs, you know that, and nephrons are the functional unit of kidney, and alveoli are the sac-like structures. Alveoli are the sac-like structures. Okay, and nephrons are the tubular structures. Okay, and the functioning alveoli, it is the site of gas exchange. Okay, in this side diffusion of CO2 from blood into alveoli, and diffusion of O2 from alveoli to blood. Okay, and what about nephron? It is a site of filtration of blood. Okay, nitrogenous wastes are filtered and removed. Okay, nitrogen wastes are filtered and removed from blood. Guys, these are the structural and functional differences between alveoli and nephron. Okay, if you want, you can take a screenshot. Okay, then next question. What are the modes of excretion in plants, guys? What are the modes of excretion? See, in case of animals, we have an excretory system, like kidneys are there. In aquatic organism, they have gills, right? And in insects, Malpighian tubule is there. Anyway, the animals in terrestrial and aquatic environment have different kinds of excretory organs, right? But in plants there is no specialized excretory organ, but they do have excretory waste. They do have some waste produced as a result of the metabolic reaction. They have to excrete that out. They don't have excretory system, still they have to remove the waste. How do they remove the waste? Let's see that. Okay, so mode of excretion in plants, there are different methods. First one, oxygen is a waste product. In a way we can say that oxygen is a waste product formed as a result of photosynthesis. Okay, oxygen, see this, oxygen and carbon dioxide and water, these things are removed through stomata. Okay, we can say that oxygen is the waste product formed through photosynthesis, and carbon dioxide is the waste product formed through respiration, and excess water is also should be removed. Okay, these are removed through stomata. Okay, next, some cellular wastes are stored in vacuoles. See, if you are in a classroom, you will store the waste in a dustbin, right? Like that, inside the cell. This is the plant cell. This is the nucleus, this is the large vacuole. The waste materials are deposited in the vacuole. Okay, and third one, some wastes are removed through falling leaves. Okay, this is a plant, this is a leaf. Okay, when the leaf is about to fall off, the plant will take back the nutrients. From the leaf, okay, and the plant will deposit waste materials into the leaf. Waste materials are deposited into the leaf. Okay, when the leaf fall off, all the waste materials will go out. Got it? So some wastes are removed through falling leaves. Another method, see, resins and gums are some of the waste products formed as a result of metabolic reaction in plants. Resins, you may have seen gums and resins in plant, right? Okay, see, the resins and gums are deposited in the old xylem vessels. Here, this is the stem of the plant. In the center of the stem there will be xylem vessels. In the center of stem there will be old xylem vessels. Okay, and comparatively younger xylem vessels will be there in the periphery. Okay, got it? And when the plants have too much resins and gums, they will deposit the resins and gums in the old xylem vessels. Okay, they will deposit the resins and gums in the old xylem vessels, so that the xylem vessels in the center will be blocked. The xylem vessels in the center or the old xylem vessels will not be able to transport water further. But no problem, the comparatively younger xylem vessels are still open. Understood? Okay, so resins and gums are deposited in the old xylem vessels. It may block the transport of water through the old xylem vessels, but the younger xylem vessels are still open. Water transport should be occurred through there. Okay. Okay, fifth one, some wastes are removed by roots into the soil. Okay, these are the modes of excretion in plants. Okay, next question. In spring, sugar stored in seeds, and an MCQ, an objective question. Okay. In spring, sugar stored in root or stem tissue of plant is transported to the buds for, come on, what is the purpose? Normally the food is produced in the leaves, okay, and the food is transported to the storage organ through the phloem seed tubes. You know that we have studied the transport, right? So food is produced in the leaves and food is transported to the storage organ from source to sink. Phloem transport food from source to sink. Source is the leaf, right, and sink is the storage organ usually. Okay, but in some cases in spring season the food is taken back from the storage organ, maybe from root or stem. Understood? Okay, and the food is taken from the storage organ and delivered to the shoot apex or the young buds. Okay, what is the purpose of that? The energy needs of the buds to grow, temperature regulation, balancing the storage in different organ, diffusion process, and the answer is the energy needs of the buds to grow. Okay, the buds need energy to grow, so the food should be transported from storage organ to buds. Okay, next question. In human alimentary canal, the specific enzyme or juice secreted in locations 1, 2 and 3. Okay, come on. 1, the first region is buccal cavity or mouth, right? In the buccal cavity, which is the gland, salivary gland secretes which enzyme? Salivary amylase, right? Amylase. Option, which option says amylase first? Okay, these two says amylase first. And second, the liver secrete bile. Okay, bile is not an enzyme, but bile is secreted from the liver, so B should be the answer. And third is pancreas secretes trypsin, so this should be the answer. Option B is the answer. Okay, easy one, so easy one. Next. Okay, assertion, blood clotting prevents excessive loss of blood. Correct, right? When a wound happens, the wound should be sealed, right? Okay, that is blood clotting. Come on, blood clotting prevents excessive loss of blood. That is correct. Okay, blood clotting is due to blood plasma and white blood cells present in the blood. Is that correct? See, blood clotting is due to blood plasma. That is true, but not white blood cell. So assertion is true, reason is false. C is the answer. White blood cells are not involved in blood clotting, only blood plasma is involved. Okay, what is the function of white blood cells? White blood cells help in fighting against pathogen. Okay, the next question. An organism which break down the food material outside the body and then absorb it. You know that who digest food outside the body and absorb it? Fungi. Which fungi we have studied? Bread mold or rhizopus, right? Let's see if there is such an answer. Yes, the answer is here. D, fungi, rhizopus, saprotrophs. They are saprotrophs. They digest food outside the body. Okay, and we are going to the last question. Which of the following pairs of food components in human reaches the stomach totally undigested? Okay, which component of food reaches the stomach totally undigested? Okay, before the stomach we have buccal cavity, right? This is buccal cavity, this is esophagus, this is stomach. Okay, in the buccal cavity only starch is digested. In the buccal cavity. Everything else reaches the stomach undigested. Okay, and protein is digested in the stomach. You know that. Okay, come on. See, which are the following pairs of food components in humans reaches the stomach totally undigested? See, in the first option starch is there, so it's not the correct answer. Fat and cellulose, let's keep this anyway. And C, starch and cellulose. Here starch is there, so it's not the answer. Protein and starch, here also starch is present, so it's not the answer. So answer B, fats and cellulose. Cellulose never be digested by our system. Okay, but fat will be digested, but fat digestion occurs in the small intestine, guys. Okay, so cellulose and fat reaches the stomach undigested. Only starch will be digested, or complex carbohydrates will be digested from the buccal cavity. Okay, Okay, dear students, we have completed almost all the important areas of this chapter, and if you have not subscribed our channel yet, please do subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye.